Hi, and welcome everyone to Ethereal Encounters Unveiled. Today we are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. Hello, everyone, and welcome as always on this Thursday. A little bit rainy out there, but who's complaining? We need it. I hope all of you are doing well. And as you just heard, welcome to Ethereal Encounters Unveiled. And of course, we are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. So much gratitude and thanks to them. And if you're listening on the radio, you can find them on 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. If you're in a chat, because we air and stream on all social media, please be sure and pop in. We love to hear your questions and comments. We love feeling your presence in the chat. So don't be shy, pop in. So today we're going to be exploring a topic that I'm absolutely intrigued about. And I want to say apologies for this cold. As those of you that were listening yesterday heard that I was complaining about this cold. I can't stand summer colds. They're awful. But excuse the sniffles. And if I need to cough or sneeze, I will pop off for a second and let our wonderful guest talk without interruption. But no worries there. So as I was saying, this topic is something that I'm absolutely intrigued about, and I have personal stake in it too, and we'll talk about why that is. But for centuries, people have sought answers about the afterlife. I know I have. And spiritual practices, religious traditions, near-death experiences, personal encounters, all those things that challenge our understanding of reality. But what if there was a way to peer beyond the veil? And this way, we explore the possibility of communication with those who have passed on. Our topic today, gazing into the afterlife, unlocking the mysteries of the Psychomanteum. We will be diving into this fascinating world of mirror gazing, altered states of consciousness, afterlife encounter, and the profound questions surrounding the survival of consciousness beyond the physical death. Is the Psychomanteum simply a psychological phenomenon, or could it be a doorway to experiences that transcend our ordinary understanding of reality? We have the perfect guest for this today. I'm so excited. I have Dr. Irene Blinston on with us. She is the author of Gazing into the Afterlife. I read that book, absolutely love it. I'm definitely picking it up again with a bunch of highlights to take notes. Through her research and exploration of the Psychomanteum, she examines the extraordinary experiences people have reported while seeking contact with loved ones and exploring the deeper mysteries of existence and, of course, her experience with it as well. So please join me in giving a warm welcome. Hi, Dr. Irene. How are you?
Hi, Carolyn. I am fantastic.
Good. We're going to be saying hello to people as they pop in. Hi, Rebecca. Always a pleasure to see you. So as folks pop in, I just like to say hello to them. So tell us, this is your first time on the show, hopefully not your last. And tell us about yourself, who you are, how you came into this particular field of study, and take it away, whatever you'd like to share about yourself.
Well, it started in my childhood. I had a very interesting mother. I call a closet esotericist. So I was raised with the Ouija board and spirit writing, which I think is called automatic writing now.
Yes.
But so 4 or 5 years old, my mother trying to contact people who passed on.
How cool.
Yeah, I had the coolest mother, no doubt. She actually had Zener cards, which are like the cards that they use for psi research. And she
Wow.
was enhancing myself and my brother's psychic abilities when we were
That
really
is so
young.
awesome.
Yeah, very. I really was very, very fortunate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that's what really started it. And then I had my own, I mean, how could I not that family? But I had my own kind of crazy, wild experiences. And then when I got into my PhD program, I wanted to study mysticism and mystical experiences. But while I was in school, I found out that they had done this research a couple years earlier in using a psychomanteum. And when I found out about what it was, and it was helping people contact their deceased loved ones, and they were measuring if it actually reduced the symptoms of grief. And by doing that, they were, they were doing this testing, and I was totally thrilled about it. And so myself and another student at the school talked them into, let's do this research again. And so I got to be involved in that research for over 3 years. And
Wow.
it was, yeah, I loved it. And I love talking about my research. So I'm probably going to gush through this whole thing.
Oh yeah, we love it. We love it. We want it all. We want it all. That's great. First of all, I am so jealous of the fact that you had a mom like that. I mean, my mom was pretty cool, but I was the one that was the odd child, the one that always, looking, like having a Ouija board and doing all that stuff at a young age. I think my mom tolerated it, but you're blessed that you at
Yes.
least had that in your life. I think you are anyway.
Yeah, thank you. And I agree 100%.
Yeah,
Gratitude every day. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Now that's why when I had my kids, I tried to be open like that. And I think it paid off because my son is a very spiritual individual, and so is my daughter, like to the max. So I think it really pays off when you do that when you leave. Like, I raised them as Catholics, but I was always teaching them about consciousness and spirituality. So those things are always good, I think. Why not do both, right?
Yeah, and I don't think we can. I was raised Catholic too. My mother was Catholic, went to Catholic school for 8 years, but that's why I say closet esotericist.
Yes,
But I
yes.
think that there are all kinds of mystical aspects to Catholicism, to other religions too. But we can't count that out. And there's in history, it's there. So I was truly, truly blessed because my psychic abilities were not shut down. My
Nice.
brothers as well. It was enhanced. So
Wow.
totally a gift.
Yeah, I want to definitely dig into that if you don't mind. Heidi, that's so cool that your mom was too. You're so lucky.
Oh.
She was also raised Catholic. I find that to be a common denominator when I talk to people, and some Jewish people too that were raised with the Kabbalah. They have a very good sense of spirituality as well. So I guess it really breaches a lot of different religions. Kevin, I hope you feel better. Where'd you say you weren't feeling good? I hope you feel better, sweetie. Everybody's getting sick. Summer colds. They're just my son and his family came to visit, and they all were getting over the cold except my son just got it. So he gifted me with a wonderful cold. That's okay. So don't mind me sniffling. I'm so sorry. So I want to dig into the Psychomanteum thing because I have like a bazillion questions.
Okay.
But just as a little precursor, I want to just give you a little backstory why this really piqued when I saw you on the internet. I was like, oh my gosh, I hope she says yes. And we have to do this. My husband passed away about 4.5 years, almost 5 years in November. And during the whole COVID thing. And we were married for 45 years. I met him when I was like just 18. So yeah, awful. So I struggled and still do with his loss, but I tried so desperately to reach out to him because we made a pact before he left. And this is when he was healthy and everything. We did it throughout our marriage. Like we would say, hey, whoever goes first, you have to give a sign. Lots of married people do that. So he was like deaf, and he was very open to that. Living with me, how could he not be, right?
Right.
But so when he passed, for the first few months, I couldn't even go there. I was numb from just grief. But then as I started, stopped crying every day, and I started, talking to him more, having dialogue without crying, nothing happened. Long story short, it took a good year for me to see him even in a dream.
Mm,
So when I saw him in the dream, it was so real, Irene,
mm.
that it kind of quelled that a little bit in me. But I've gotten other signs from him since then. But this psychomanteum thing just blows me away. So let's explain first what that is to folks. I know you've done this a gazillion times, but let's give them an idea of what this psychomanteum is.
Okay, the psychomanteum, that term it's a modern thing that was created by Dr. Raymond Moody Jr. Dr. Moody is known for, actually he coined the term near-death experience. He's known for life after life, but he developed the psychomanteum based on the ancient Greek necromantians, and really shorten the process and condense the process for modern day.
Yeah.
So a psychomanteum, originally it was a cave that people went into, and they went through like a 29-day, 30-day ritual in the cave, and being led finally into this chamber where there was like a cauldron with water and perhaps oil on the top of it, but it was a reflective surface. And it was and of course, after 29 days of ritual and everything, they're probably in an altered state of consciousness.
Mm.
And so they are gazing into this cauldron and contacting and asking their questions. So the modern day psychomanteum is an environment created somewhat like that, but we don't take that long to do it. In our research, we did an hour before the psychomanteum experience, an hour with them in the psychomanteum, and then an hour after where we talked about what their experience was.
Okay.
Myself, the way I do it now is 40 minutes to talk,
Yeah.
40 minutes in and 40 minutes afterwards. So we've obviously from 29 days to, just a matter of a couple of hours, we've really shortened the process.
Yeah.
But the environment that's created, and I feel very strongly about this now, Dr. Moody, he does his a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But I can only go by what we did, and I was part of that research unit for 3 years, so it's kind of pounded in my brain,
Nice.
and I saw it work very effectively. So we had a tent-like structure, and it was black, and mine is same thing.
Yeah.
And there's a chair in there, and there's a mirror and a dimmer switch for a very, very low light.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole idea of this environment is really like sensory deprivation.
Sure.
So we want everything shut off except for just a tiny bit of light. No smell. We do everything we can to avoid, when people come, we tell them no scents or anything like that, because we want the environment to stay. I hate
Mm-hmm.
to use the word sterile, but at the moment I can't think of anything other than that.
Oh,
So
that's descriptive. Yeah.
yeah, we just keep it, as plain as possible. And so for myself, I feel like the mirror is actually the portal to
Okay.
the other side. And so we close it off, and they're in the dark, except for they can adjust the light. And they sit in a chair and they look at the mirror, but the mirror is at an angle so that when they're looking at it, they see the mirror, but they can't see themselves. They don't see
Oh,
a reflection of themselves. And that's really important because that's a distraction.
sure.
So when they're looking in the mirror, they only see the mirror. And to me, when I tell my clients and the people that I worked with in the research, that mirror is like, that's where the veil is. And right
Right.
now it's open. So you can talk to the other side. And I always tell them that this is, I've used this before. I would say it's like ET phone home.
Yeah.
It's like to be able to get to the other side. So that's the important part, is for them to understand that they can communicate. It's like the phone to the afterlife. And Dr. Moody's work, he was looking specifically for apparitions. so
Mm.
that people would see apparitions of the dead. And he, in fact, I was with him at like a 5-day event, and I took half a day to share our research to his people that were there. And he was saying, I didn't know this until I was actually at his event, that he had people look into a crystal ball, and if they could not see an image in there, if they didn't see something in the crystal ball, they weren't qualified to go through the Psychomanteum.
Oh,
Because that way, if they could see something in a crystal ball by scrying into a crystal ball, then their chances were higher that they would see an apparition in the Psychomanteum. And so I
wow.
don't remember what his percentages were, but he had a much higher incidence of
Mm.
people seeing apparitions. In
Now,
our
would he
research,
tell them,
oh,
can
go
I
ahead.
ask you a question?
Yeah.
Would he tell them ahead of time that was the precursor to be able to use the Psychomanteum? Because what if they made it up that they saw something? Like, or would he just say, tell me what you see? How did he do that?
I think it was actually, kind of like on the paperwork that you get, it's like, if you want to
Oh,
do this, I don't know exactly. And it was a long time ago when I was at that event with him.
yeah,
But I do know that he was saying that, and that surprised me because I didn't know that. I just thought, wow, this guy's lucky because he's had so many people have apparitions where, out of 100 people that we pulled from our participant pool, that we analyzed the data,
yeah.
we only had 2 people who saw an
Mm.
apparition.
So do
So
you have that criteria for your
no,
participants, right? That they have to see something in a crystal? You don't have
no,
that.
because, and this is one of the struggles, because in Dr. Moody's book Reunions, he talks about all the apparitions because that was his main thing. And so
Mm.
when people would come to our research, and I got so many of them, but they'd come to the research, and I would ask, are you familiar with Dr. Raymond Moody's book Reunions? Oh yeah, that's why I'm here. And it
Wow.
was just like, oh no, because they're expecting to see an apparition.
Sure. Yeah,
And
makes
so
sense.
it took not extra time, but during our time to prep them to go into the Psychomanteum,
Right.
then I had to tell them about apparitions are rare. And, it's like you want to be open for anything and everything while
Sure.
you're in there, because you're going to get different types of sensory responses. And everybody's different. There are similarities, of course, with some people and what they experience, but you have to be open for anything and everything
Oh, of
while
course.
you're in there.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
yeah,
makes
and
complete.
those people weren't, which is
Oh,
really hard. So I kept, and as soon as I would walk them in to sit down in the Psychomanteum, I'd remind them, I'm like, this is the mirror. It's like the phone. You can talk, you can communicate. Just trying to just really take this. Don't lose this opportunity. That's how I looked at it.
yeah,
It's like you're gonna miss things if you're only looking, really like looking for an apparition.
yeah,
What if there is a sign or some kind of symbol that comes through, or you hear something but you're completely blocking that out because you're waiting
yeah.
for the apparition. Yeah,
Sure. Yeah,
that
yeah.
was a struggle.
I
But
mean, do they get more than one opportunity to go in there?
they
Or how does that work?
Well, they everybody has one opportunity when they signed up. And for me, and also one person at a time. In other words, one person, one deceased person, because you mix messages if you're
Sure.
trying to contact more than one person, and if there's more than one person in the Psychomanteum, um, and especially if they're coming and want to contact the same person, then there's still mixed messages.
Sure.
So I don't like doing that. I prefer that it's just one person at a time contacting one deceased person at a time. And then they can come back again, but it's not, especially when we had everything set up, because we had a waiting list of
Oh, I'll
people that
bet.
wanted to go through, and everything has to be scheduled. So it's like you have to make a new appointment
Sure.
to come in and do it again. So, and sometimes that wait would be a lengthy wait for
Yeah.
some people.
Yeah. So you did this locally where you lived, I would imagine, right?
The research we did in Palo Alto, California, where my school was. And then mine, yeah, I move a lot. So that becomes an issue. One of the problems with doing this, and there's only like 3 of us that are doing this in the United States.
Oh, is that
So
right?
yeah, and so that's why it's like I've got a certification program I developed. So anybody out there might be interested. But the
Is that
certification,
on your website?
not
We'll
in
go.
the ireneblinston.com, but on portal to healinggrief.com. It's all one word, portal, T-O, healinggrief.com. There it talks about the Psychomanteum and the portal process, and then you can sign up to get into a webinar where I talk about all of this.
Is that correct?
Yes, that should
Okay,
be correct.
good.
Looks like
All right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So folks, if you want to sign up to that, definitely head on over. I'll put that link in the description of the YouTube video, and wherever else I can, I'll make sure that.
Okay, that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, this way
Yeah,
folks can go in there and check it out if they want to get certified or whatever.
exactly. If they feel called to this, and it's a it's a 6-month training. So I mean,
Oh, wow.
yeah. I mean, because the whole thing with this is to do no harm, and you really have to understand the process and how it could cause harm.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
to avoid that. So yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be a therapist or anything like that, but it's important to understand the whole processes and why it's done. And it seems simple, but it really can be. It could end up being harmful for the wrong person at the wrong time or whatever.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, because we all know that mirrors are used for scrying, and I wanted to kind of get into that with you a little bit. I'm sure you get that question a lot. Like, what's the difference between what you do in the Psychomanteum and what, like, say, not only pagans or witches, but a lot of people use mirrors for different practices. We all know that they're portals. They have a lot of power. I mean, there's so many cultures and civilizations that have that had mirrors cover them for a multitude of reasons.
Right.
So you tell us, like, you primarily use the Psychomanteum for grief healing. Am I correct?
In my book, the last chapter of my book, I talk about all the different ways that it could possibly be used. And there's probably more than that. But for our research we did, and for the work that I was doing when I graduated, was primarily for grief. And right now, especially after COVID, there's, even though, like, what was that, 4 years ago or whatever, people, it's not like they got over it.
Absolutely not.
I think it was probably one of the most huge time frames for grief, and probably complicated or prolonged grief disorder, because of, couldn't be at the funeral, you couldn't be at the hospital. Yeah, I mean, it was really awful. So
it was god awful. It truly.
For every person who dies, an average of 5 people grieve. Oof. And how many people died during COVID? So you can imagine how many grieving people.
That's a whole nother, because not only deaths, but there were injuries. There's so many millions of injuries in place that cause people to have, post-traumatic disorder and suffering still till today.
Oh gosh, I mean, it's if we look at all of the aspects of what went on during that time, it becomes exponential.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. I mean, it's not like the Spanish flu, like when that happened, which people died, thousands, and I don't know exactly how many, maybe 80,000, some big number. But it seemed a lot more natural then. So, like, people expected that. They weren't, I don't think they were as in shock as we were with COVID, because a lot of lies and deception took place, and people started discovering that we were being deceived and lied to about so much. And look at what's coming out now about
I
the
know. I know.
it's
Gosh.
it's great.
Yeah.
People see it. We all see it. It's all over the news.
Yeah.
We just saw what Tulsi Gabbard came out with as well, the announcement. But so the Psychomanteum is used for a wide array of things.
It can be, yes.
It can be, but your primary in that book was basically for grief.
Yeah, because that book I wrote based on our research. The director of the research unit was dying. He wanted to have a book about it, but he was dying. So he asked me and another research teammate to write the book. She was unavailable, and it's a long story, but anyway, I ended up finally getting it done and getting it published. So that's just about our research, because I really wanted to point out all the different experiences people had and why they came, and then try to make it human, so it's not completely an academic treatise. It's got some of my own experiences, and I try to humanize it a little bit in the writing of it. So yes, that book is primarily, although like I said, at the end of the book, I give ideas on the different things, but it still had to do with grief as a base, because grief is, even somebody who has worked at a job for like 30 years and then they get let go, and their whole life and identity was their position in that job. That's grief, so that's a death of a kind. So yes, anyway, I go into the detail in my book about that. But so that's what it was about. But when we talk, if I'm going to step back a little bit, because it's kind of this is fun to me, like when we start talking about the mirrors, a mirror is a mirror, and it has the potential to be a portal.
Mm-hmm.
And once it's opened as a portal, it doesn't ever close. You got to keep it covered. And we had an incident that director of the research unit, he just was like, whatever. And I'm like, we need to cover the mirror. And one night, a research teammate, actually the one he wanted to write the book with me, she was there doing work at night in the office there, and she could see the hallway, which were the wall where the Psychomanteum was. And she just had this feeling, and she turned and she saw this man walk through the wall into the hall late at night. And she's just like, okay. And I said, we got to cover that mirror.
Yeah.
Because the portal is left open, and the same thing between people, everybody. And this is something that I was told as a little kid, my crazy mother, my wonderful mother, that everybody on the other side is trying to get through.
Sure.
So when you've opened the portal and you're focused on one person, at least that energy is trying to pull that person through. But once that's done, if the portal is still open, everybody's trying to get through.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So at least that is my belief on it.
I'm with you on that one. Can't like anything be made into a portal if you use the right energy? I've heard stories of closets being portals. So, I think anything, but I think mirrors in particular have this special ability
mirrors are different.
Yeah, they are.
Or any reflective surface. So, for instance, John Dee, your people may know who John Dee is from the Renaissance time. He was an astrologer, and he was an esoteric kind of guy, and he was actually hired by Queen Elizabeth. Well, he acquired this obsidian mirror, and it was obsidian stone that was polished, and they have it at the British Museum. I thought they were going to have to drag me out of that museum because I was just like, oh my God, I really turned into Golem, my precious. It was all his stuff. It was like the mirror, the original mirror of John Dee. Oh my God. And he had a crystal ball in there too. I could go on forever on this one, but they had sigils and all kinds of stuff
Oh
there
yeah.
that is in the museum. They're showing things that belong to him. And so that was, and it's in the open there, but it's probably been cleansed and everything else since then.
Yeah.
And that's another thing you can do too, is cleansing, like using smudging and things like that.
Sure.
But for mirrors, I really feel that they need to be covered when they're not in use.
I
And,
agree.
and even a compact, somebody says, well, why do I need to cover it? Or why do I need to just use it just for that now?
Mm.
And I go, because you've opened the portal. You're only going to be using that mirror, like a compact mirror that closes. You
Sure.
want to
Yeah.
keep it closed. You don't open again until you're going to use it again for the same purpose. So
Cool.
I'm kind of strict that way, only because, I don't have 100% knowing or proof or whatever, but why take chances? That's kind of how I look at it. It's just like, okay,
I
let's,
agree.
yeah.
I
So,
do.
but
Same thing
also,
with the Ouija board. Once
mhm.
you create the environment for the Ouija board, you sit down and you have to open it, and then you're supposed to close it when you. Not that I play with them because I don't, but I think it's the same principle. I also heard from a very like a starseed child, which blew me away. He was about 10 years old, and he said that you can connect to other dimensions through the mirror, and you can, when you go to the mirror, you talk to it in whispers. 10 years old. And
Oh,
he said, and if you talk to it and ask for something that you want in the possibility of all these other dimensions that we exist in, that you can actually bring it back to this dimension. So this 10-year-old kid, he's like, go to your mirror, whisper, talk to yourself. I mean, there has to be like, how could a 10-year-old kid know with such a sense of believability that something like that's possible? I mean,
well,
unless somebody prepped him,
right. Yeah. And the thing is, though, and maybe maybe as a mother like mine was,
yeah,
but what he's saying, I totally agree with,
yeah, I do too.
because there's, I mean, oh gosh, can go into so many different directions here. Let me just pull myself together. Um, the, um, the dimensionality, in the afterlife, is it all one dimension?
Right.
We don't know. My
Exactly.
mother made really good friends with a woman who was a psychic in our neighborhood. Of course, my mother did, and she did spirit writing. And then she was talking to, through the spirit writing, was contacting a friend of my mother's who died, and she said, "What happens when you die?" And so
Mm,
this is where the dimensionality really hit me, because,
yeah.
and I was like 14 years old. Um, but she was saying that when you die, you go to a certain level, is
Mhm.
how I understood it as a 14-year-old. And then in that level, you do learning. You're learning things. And I'm 14, so I'm seeing it like it's a classroom you're in. And then from there, once you graduate, you go up to the next level,
Yeah.
another dimension. So there could be multiple dimensions, afterlife related,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
that we
I
don't
agree
know
with that.
about.
Yeah. Carrie made a good point. Any door we use physically, we learn to open, and we need to learn how to close it. It can be done. That's exactly
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
believe to be true.
right.
You got to
Windows too.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
what's the difference between scrying and your psychoman? Is there a difference between them, and what is it?
Um, According to Raymond Moody, it's the same thing. And
Mm,
I think it's the same. You're scrying, so you're looking for something. Yeah, because you're scrying with a mirror. If you, my brain is so full of so much information. You have to forgive me. It's like everything wants to come out at once. Let me just fire hose you. So, like, there's bronze mirrors that they used in Tibet, seers in Tibet use. And and that's not really a shiny surface, but it's used specifically for scrying purposes.
Mm.
So so it's a reflective surface. And I had a little argument. We didn't have a physical argument, but I had a little quandary with Dr. Moody when he was talking about the crystal ball, because
Mm.
you're not looking for something to reflect off the surface, you're looking for something inside.
True. Yeah. Good point.
So
Good.
it's not exactly the same, but
Right.
it's the same idea.
Mm-hmm.
You're scrying, you're looking into, and that's why I always tell people you're not looking for a reflection of yourself or a reflection, you're looking into the mirror. So and really when you think about that, it's like if you put a mirror behind, like a mirror to a mirror, and it's like this bazillion mirrors going back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that same, you're looking into the mirror, the different layers or whatever you want to call it. At least
I,
that's how I view it.
Trying though, they don't do what you guys do to tip the mirror so you don't see yourself, and I like that. I don't think
Yeah,
they do
that
that
yeah.
with crying, right?
We still call it scrying, but I mean, obviously we didn't call it that in our research. Because,
Yeah.
it's like we're using, I don't even know if Arthur Hastings, the research director, if he used even mirror gazing. He
Mm,
might have, but that's, you're gazing into the mirror. So
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, same idea.
How often do you use your own personal psychomantium, and for what reasons do you use it now?
I just now rebuilding a psychomantium. I haven't had one for 7.5 years. My
Oh, wow.
psychomantium burned in a fire.
Oh,
Um,
no.
and yeah, I lived in Paradise, California, where the campfire was, and yeah, it
Oh,
was not fun. Um, so I lost everything, and I really went through some severe trauma
of
driving
course.
out of that fire. So I had to take a break, and that's why it took longer for me to get the book written too, because my cognitive function wasn't working. It was like a
Sure.
brain injury. But at any rate, right now I'm creating the psychomantium for the training, and also it's like whoever I talk to about it, it's like I need more facilitators, but everybody I talk to is like, oh, I want to go through it.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I got to build the psychomantium again, and once people experience it and experience me facilitating them through, maybe they might be interested in becoming certified facilitators for the
Sure.
process. But
Yeah.
yeah, and I, quite honestly, when I'm doing the certification training, the foundation is going to be for grief,
Mm,
but for like continuing education training for
sure.
it, I'm going to be talking about different ways it can be used. I don't know if I wrote in my book or not. I can't remember, but there was one woman, and anger is part of grief. It's one of the symptoms of grief,
Gotcha.
and she was really angry. Um, and she came through to just cuss out whoever it was she wanted to contact, and that's what she did. And when she came out, she was like one happy camper. She was
Wow.
just really like, yes. It's like this environment gave her the opportunity,
Sure.
provided the opportunity to let whoever died have it, because she was able to say the things she wasn't able to say.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody, that passes away is a loved one. I
Right,
mean,
yeah, right, yeah, yeah.
right? We just assume. But did she tell you what she experienced in the psychomantium? Did she connect with with the person? Like, did she describe what she was experiencing?
I think when she went in, she just was like calling in the person. It's like, this is who I want to contact. And because I tell them that the mirror is a direct line, it's like it's already open. They're just naming who it is that they want to contact. I think she just spent her time in there,
And they're doing what she
just
had to do. She
saying
could
what she needed to say.
have, could have felt them too. I mean, does that
Yeah.
happen a lot in there where you get reports of where people actually maybe don't see a specter
Right.
or some type of image of someone, but maybe they smell something or feel
Yes,
something like,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. What are some of
There,
the really crazy stories that came out of there? Like, let's
um,
see if there's
the
anything.
really crazy stories.
Yeah.
There are some that, because like I say, be open to anything and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I thought of when you asked me that question to share that was this one participant who went through and he wanted to contact his father, who was a concert pianist. He was like a professional musician. And he had read Dr. Raymond Moody's book, Reunions, and he was in there to have an apparition. I did everything I could to, try to talk him down from that.
Yeah.
So he went in and he did his thing. He came out and I spoke with him like, okay. And he's just like, he goes, you got to do something about the radio. And I was just like,
Oh,
I'm sorry. I said, come in. We got into the office and sat down. And I go, what do you mean? And he goes, somebody turned on like a CD player or a radio or whatever. And
wow.
I could tell it was like a classic music because it was music my father used to play.
Didn't he
And
put two and two together, though? I mean,
no, well, after we spoke, yes.
yeah.
And he's going, that is so distracting. Whoever did that, they need to be told that probably shouldn't even be in here when you're doing Psychomanteum sessions. I said, there is no music player and there was no music.
That had to freak him out.
And he just looked at me and I'm like, okay. There was no music playing.
Wow.
And so it took him a second to really just the shock of it. And what's sad to me is that he missed so much while he was in there.
Oh,
Because the whole time he's in there, he's going, damn it.
distracted.
Turn that music off. I'm trying to contact my dad.
Oh, my word.
And so
Yeah.
so to me, I'm thinking if he had heard the music, he may have been able to communicate with his father.
Sure. Yeah. Do you
so
ever video record what goes on in there?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Do you ever take videos of what goes on during a session?
No, we had all kinds of equipment, but Dr. Hastings never used it. I can kind of understand in a way because it does create it. I mean, we had bio monitoring, I can't imagine someone trying to contact their deceased loved one when they're all wired for sound and there's cameras going and everything else. There was one person who was in the previous research at the school and he took in a recorder, but it took a couple years later, he forgot he did it.
Oh.
And he found the recording and he said that there was like static or weird sounds on the recording.
Like EVPs, it picked up something.
It may have actually.
Yeah.
But it wasn't anything that he could distinguish, but he was just so blown away because this happens a lot. You forget, he totally forgot that he recorded it. And this is the mind trying to protect you by forgetting things. It's like, okay, this doesn't compute. We'll just block this out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so he found the recorder when he was I think he was moving or something, and he found the recorder. And he was like, what the heck? And then he remembered that he did that. But our concern was for the purposes of being in there and really for the person's experience, that having all the equipment and stuff set up would be, and we tried to have we had electricity because there was we had a little like a bathroom light, one of those little night light things. Yeah. And we put a dimmer switch on so they could even dim it more.
Yeah.
And that was the amount of electricity we had in there. But, and I took people's watches, and not necessarily because of the mechanics of the watch, but it's like, I'm keeping time for you. There is
Yeah.
no time while you're in there. I will keep time for you. So, because there's a tendency for people to look at their watch.
Now, you
So.
mentioned there are only 3 practitioners that you know of that are using the Psychomanteum. Do you see it growing in popularity? Like, what is that what you're trying to do?
I
Is
am.
Yeah. Who are you reaching out to other than doing podcasts and stuff like that? Are there any specific groups of people that you've thought would be great to reach out to
Well,
promote it?
originally, yeah. I mean, originally I thought of grief workers, people who were already doing grief
Sure.
work, and I thought of death doulas.
Yeah.
And so I've been on a few death doula podcasts, but that I come more from the paranormal supernatural
Right.
area. But it's like I want everybody to know about this,
Yeah.
and because to make it available, because right now there's a man who contacted me. I'm building my Psychomanteum now specifically for this man because he went to Raymond Moody, and Raymond was going to do it, which I thought was interesting because I didn't think he was doing it anymore. But something happened, and he goes, "No, you'll have to go to Dr. Rebecca Mers, who is my teammate from the research, and she was the one that was going to write the book with me. But she's in Florida, but
Mm.
she couldn't do it either. And so she said, try Dr. Irene Blinston. She's in the West." And so he contacted me. And it's like I was referring to a person in Oklahoma who was trained under Dr. Moody, but I don't know if she's even doing it anymore. So that's how rare it is.
Yeah.
And I've had people contact me from overseas that were willing to fly to the United States
Wow.
to go through the Psychomanteum. And I know that when we were doing our research,
Hmm.
we had a waiting list.
Oh, I'll bet. So
Yeah.
this isn't something that I can build in my own home.
You
I can't.
could.
Could I do? I mean, not that I will. Who knows? But could the average person? I mean, if they don't take your course, but they have a pretty good, say they read your book and they go, "Wow, I'm going to give it a whirl," and they tilt the mirror and they, make it exactly as it's supposed to be. Is that dangerous to do? Because I'm always concerned about demonics. Like I'm a demonic believer, and
Mhm.
I am very careful in my day-to-day life to keep them as far away from me as possible because I think they're out there wanting our loosh in any way that they could get, hold of us. And I've spoken to doctors that work with schizophrenic patients that have worked for decades, um, and have proof that there are demonics that do attack people. So I would be very careful doing something like this because of that. Like I would not want to attract a demon. Do you have a ritual before you go in to keep the demonics out? Is there any preparation that you do, Irene?
For we did, there's crystal use of crystals. For the new one I'm going to be building now, I'm going to have a glass bottle with salt water in it
Ah, nice.
to spray in the corners.
Yeah.
Because you can't use any scents, so you can't smudge or anything like that.
Right.
So a salt water spray for the corners of the Psychomanteum. Mine
Yeah.
is like a
Yeah.
rectangle. And crystal use can be also done. This is why I'm doing a certification program,
Yeah.
because I think that when a person goes in, you have to have the right facilitator.
Yeah.
One, it's not good to do it on your own. Excuse me. You really should have someone with you.
Yeah, I agree.
Excuse me. Because you need a timekeeper.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You need an overseer. Absolutely agree with
yeah,
that.
yeah. And also, it's not a toy. And
Right.
I wrote this in the introduction of my book. This isn't like the Ouija board. It can be used like one, and kids have done that, previously. But I think that if somebody wanted, I have information in my book. If someone wanted to go by the dimensions and stuff that I provide, and how, Dr. Moody has his set up. Somebody could create their own. But I think that they set themselves up for disappointment.
Yeah.
Because they really don't know what they're doing. Now, reading my book, they'll have a better idea, that's for sure. But to be able to do, create your own psychomanteum at home and stuff like that. Yeah, mine is it's taken. I can take it apart, in when I go do talks or whatever. And we did this at school too. We take it apart and take it somewhere and set it back up. So I have to do that way for myself, because having it be mobile, I can and set it up easily.
Yeah.
But for people that want to do it, are there chances, just like playing around with the Ouija board, there are people who think it's fun to call on demons, and just so they can have the crap scared out of them.
Yeah. Well, you'll find that in a lot of the youth. They think they're invincible until something god awful happens. But I'm just showing folks the cover of your book there. Yeah, it was such a good read. Highly recommend it, because it doesn't only cover the grief aspect, but like you said before, it's very important for folks to know that there are so many different levels and ways that we grieve. It's not just about losing, like we just went into great detail about that with COVID and losing your job and, breaking up with your boyfriend or girlfriend. I mean, grief is prevalent in all of our lives day to day.
Right.
So I like that the Psychomanteum does have an overarching theme of healing from grief, because it just makes sense that it does.
Yeah.
So, and if you go in it and you don't have an experience where you contacted a loved one, maybe there's healing that takes place in other ways, like the angry lady.
Yes.
Right?
You're reminding me of my experience in there too. I've been in there like 3 times where I was facilitated. I don't go in there. Like I said, you need a sitter, you need a facilitator. So I don't do it by myself. But I went in because I wanted my father's approval, and I wrote about this in the book too.
Yeah.
And all my whole life was like, I could be a straight A student, but that 1 A minus, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. And my whole life, so I did everything to try, even into adulthood. So, I mean, I went into Psychomanteum to get my father's approval, right? And I'm like, aren't you proud of me? And so when I was sitting on the edge of the seat, looking into the mirror, it's like, I just want you to tell me you're proud of me. And I felt these hands. Felt like hands on my shoulders, pushed me back in the chair.
Oh, wow.
And I literally went back into the chair. And it felt like, this is kind of graphic, but it's what it felt like, but no pain. It felt like my rib cage, my chest just broke open. And this pink light just started shooting out of my chest.
Oh, wow.
And when was being pushed back, a voice, and it was a man's voice, but it was not my father's voice. A man's voice said, "Be proud of yourself," and pushed me back, opened up, pink light coming out. All I could feel was unconditional love. I mean, it was just like I was in an altered state like you would not believe. And it was just all this pink light. And of course, my time was up. So the facilitator came in and got me. I could, practically had to carry me out of there. And I couldn't really talk for like about 15 minutes or so. I couldn't but that feeling at that moment when it was like, be proud of yourself and all this happened, that constant ache and longing for my father's approval that was there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, my whole life, gone.
I mean, look at that.
Gone. I mean, and it still is gone. It was just a transformation. Yeah, I still blows me away. It might happen a long time ago, but it still blows my mind.
Of course. I mean, just listening to it gives me chills. I wonder if that was a spirit guide of yours, or someone trying
I
to let you know, like, just be proud of yourself
Yeah,
and just
yeah, that's
remove that,
interesting. Yeah,
right?
I'd not thought of that about a spirit guide. I didn't know who it was. It was a man's voice, or at least a masculine voice,
Yeah, yeah,
and strong arms, strong hands pushing me back in the chair, not hurting me, but
yeah.
just, pushed me back. And that's when, like, the chest broke open. And it was
Yeah,
so weird because in my mind's eye, it was like my rib cage broke open, but absolutely no pain whatsoever.
it
In
was like
fact,
a
just
release,
this
wasn't it?
feeling of
It was
unconditional
a
love.
release. Yeah, it was like a release for you of
Yes,
of
completely.
that pain and suffering, whatever was toxic, causing you to, but that's wonderful. I mean, that alone is a good reason to wanna go in one of them, just for
Yeah, it's
self.
like that was worth the price of
It
admission.
was
Yeah.
worth the Abso-freaking-lutely worth it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and, it sounds very sexy to me. Like, I am very attracted to the whole concept of working with mirrors, even though it scares me a little bit. Something in me as an empath tells me that they're the real deal. They are.
Mhm.
They're the real deal, these mirrors. And, our ancient civilizations use them, and whether it was shiny surfaces with copper bowls or whatever, they saw the value of that.
Right.
So, I mean, that's why I'm digging this whole thing. Like, if you lived close to me, I would definitely build one with you because it's like right up my alley. But you're right, you do need someone well versed in it to guide you through the process. It's not like picking up a Ouija board. So I
No,
agree.
well, it could be, but how useful is that? Um, I mean, when my mother and I used to play the Ouija board, it's a different story
Yeah, yeah.
because that was spiritual guidance. And I was just 5 years old, so I couldn't even read
Wow.
it. My mother would read it, but she always wanted me to do it with her because it would move faster with the two of us.
Hmm.
And as an example, going back to the different levels or dimensions, I think in the Ouija board, because I asked, "Who are you, and why are you here?" in the Ouija board, and I was 5 years old, but my mother read it to me, and it was like this guy who fell in love with the wrong girl and got in trouble, and her father was some big dude who, like, threw him into the heavens where
Ah,
his spirit would be forever. And his only way to communicate or to have any kind of connection in the world was through the Ouija board.
wow.
And he told the whole story about it.
Mm.
So that was, that's why I wonder if, when we open the portal in the mirror, that the portal gets opened by the person contacting that one, reaching out to that one deceased person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's the call. It's like we're calling that number. Like people down the street can't pick up the phone.
So it's your intention then. So
Yeah,
it
it's
really,
your intention.
yeah,
Yes. And then
yeah.
we have to close it, like when they're done. Now, we didn't get to do this at school. Obviously, we had people walking through the walls, but whatever. But, my whole thing is like we cover the mirror back up, and I'll probably do some kind of washing of the mirror and stuff like that. But my thing when I was doing it before, I just covered the mirror. It's like this communication link is closed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it
Yeah.
opens again for the next person.
Yeah, I like that idea very much. And I like the salt idea too,
Yeah.
just for protection. Well,
Yeah.
aside from, back to your childhood for a second, what did you experience having a mom so awesome, exposing you to all this spirituality and all this learning how to really invoke your third eye to be able to have intuition? What was the most profound memory that you have from all of that? Like, what really did you see entities? Did you communicate with them? Like, what was that like for you?
That's interesting. Well, probably the most profound experience was between 5 and 7. Um, I was raised Catholic, and I was in Catholic church, and I have 4 brothers, and I was probably between 5 and 7, and I have 4 brothers, and we're all really close in age, right? And so my mother did everything she could to keep us quiet. Well, one day in the church, out of the blue, a man was standing on the steps up to the altar who I identified, or he looked like Jesus to me. And he was looking at the people in the pews on the other side of the church. There was 2 sides. And he was looking at them on the other side. And I was just like, whoa, Jesus is in here. And he looked on the other side where I was, and our eyes locked. And he communicated to me telepathically. I can never talk about it. But he communicated to me telepathically. And I was just like, Mom, like, Mom, I'm screaming in the church that Jesus is up at the altar.
Wow.
And she's just like, where? And she looked up and she goes, yeah, he's up there. Be quiet.
Yeah.
And I just thought, to me, it was like she didn't believe me.
Yeah.
And it's not safe to tell anyone.
Yeah.
So you have to keep it a secret.
You had to think that was odd for your mom being so open with that. You said he communicated with you, but you don't. Do you remember what that was?
Yeah, totally. Every time I've only told or tried to tell a couple of people in my life. And every time I start, like even now I get emotional, and it's like, I just, I have no control whatsoever. Tears flow, crying.
Sure.
I have no control. Yeah. But
that's a blessing. It sounds like a blessing to me that you were, that he came to you and connected with you as a child. And it makes sense because Jesus loves his children. It really does.
And at that time, because later, like at 11 years old, I went to Catholic school from 1st to 8th grade. At 11 years old, by the time I was 11, because I was really a precocious kid, so I asked a lot of questions and they wouldn't answer them, or they gave me some bogus answers because I'm thinking, that's a bunch of BS.
Yeah.
And so by 11, I was a self-proclaimed atheist.
Oh, wow.
And by the time,
a lot, though, Irene, that happens a lot to a lot of people.
Well, I realized when I was about 18 years old, and actually, oh God, I have so many stories, Carol Ann. So many things that happened, because after the apparition, I had dreams every night, and Jesus came, and I was in like an opening meadow of a forest where I was being taught with like 11 other little girls. So this happened every night. So it was a big, long thing. And then it faded out. And when I was 18, I had the thing again. And all these little girls, we all grew up together in this, when we'd meet up for school. And that dream was the last time I saw him, the last time we were taught. And so I realized my self-declared atheism is just anger.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm angry because they could not answer my questions.
Yeah.
And so it's not that I don't believe in God or I don't believe in anything. It's that I don't have the knowing. And so now I'm self-proclaimed agnostic.
Yeah.
And I even have I have a YouTube channel that's just hardly ever used, but it's my title is In Search of Gnosis.
I saw that. And I saw the videos you did on, is it The End of the World, Part 1 and Part 2?
Oh, yeah. I just, lots of different experiences and things that I've read and observed and have been communicated to and stuff like that. Yeah, so there's a lot of different, I'm just a real curious person. So, and I love research.
Today you don't believe in God, the creator, or you do, but you said you're agnostic, so maybe you're not sure. There could be, there couldn't be. Is that?
The way I look at it is I know there's something because I've had some pretty crazy, wild
Yeah.
experiences.
Yeah.
And, you know, even my doctoral research, I did two research, the Psychomanteum and then my own, which was religious apparitions that adults recollecting their experiences that they had in
Mhm.
childhood. Um, that, you know, there's just, I don't know. I am without knowing, but I'm in search of it, you know, and so that's, I know there's something. I just haven't been able to name it. And maybe there isn't a specific name for it. You know, but I was raised Catholic, and it's this whole, you have this vision of this big old dude with, white beard, long hair, carrying a big
Yeah.
stick.
We know that's not God. God, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was, beaten up daily by nuns. So,
Oh,
but yeah, I went through that experience, unfortunately. But I don't know. It sounds to me like you've had all this exposure, all these experiences. And I mean, I'm just throwing my 2 cents in there that point to you not doubting because you live these experiences that have to come from somewhere other than you,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you're not making it up in your head. You're not creating this stuff. This stuff is external to you.
Mhm.
And it just seems like, I don't know, like, you don't need to name it or find proof for it because internally, like,
Well,
that's why the psychomanteum means so much to you, because
yeah,
it's just, yeah, there's just a correlation there, I think.
right. It's, and there's a lot of skeptics will go, well, what if they made it all up? Um, the people, and I'm just like, I don't care. I'm all for the placebo effect. If their grief is reduced and that
Oh, yeah,
reduction lasts over time, if my needing for my father's approval is gone and it's
exactly.
just the placebo effect, yay.
Yeah, yeah,
That works for me. But I
absolutely.
personally, something happens in that chamber, the psychomantium chamber. And it's just like with churches, cathedrals that are built in a certain way,
Oh, yeah,
sacred geometry.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Same
mean, look
idea.
at the pyramids too, and they're a global event. People think they're just in Egypt, and they're not. They're all over the globe.
Yes, they are.
Pyramids.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
knowledge came from somewhere. Speaking, where does, if at all, ET fit into your life? Have you ever had experiences with extraterrestrials at all, or is that
I,
just
I
something?
have, yes. I had entities that they called themselves angels, but later said that ET angel, what's the difference? It's like
Right?
what, and so I've had that in communication that way. And I've seen UFOs.
Mhm.
When like I was about 9 years old and a UFO floated. This is another thing that happens is so interesting. It was like bright orange and it
Mhm.
was just kind of floating over, no sound. It was just floating over my neighborhood, and all us kids and the parents must have been in the summer, and everybody was outside, and we're all playing in the street, and
Wow.
everything stopped. It was like
Sure.
in the church when I saw Jesus. It was like
Mm.
everything went into suspended animation, and the same thing happened in this neighborhood. And I'm looking up, and here is this fluorescent orange, big. It was like the size of the whole neighborhood
Sure.
going over the neighborhood. And then I'm from Northern California and the foot of the Sierra Nevadas. So it's like we had hills. And so once it went over, it disappeared behind the hill. And I was just like, wow. And everybody, it's like, boom, everybody just came out of suspended animation and talking about the same thing, kids throwing the ball and playing. And I'm like, hello, that was weird.
Did they not see it? Were you the
No,
only?
yes,
Wow,
I think
that's
they saw it, but they don't remember.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
remember. And that happened once again too. I did a video about blue light on my YouTube channel, and I had another UFO encounter. I call it a UFO. It may have been it was in Henderson, Nevada, not too far from Area 51. So it could have easily been something that the military had,
I
but
mean,
it was unidentified flying object, that's for
yeah.
sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was another really interesting experience where everybody stopped talking that could see it. And then once it disappeared, everybody just started talking again like it was nothing.
Time freezes. Yeah, it's so weird. We hear that a lot when people talk about their ET encounters. Um, I saw one through high powered binocs that blew me away. It just, I mean, it was definitely out of the atmosphere, and it went straight at a very high speed, and then it just made a turn, a left turn that nothing on this planet is capable of doing.
Right, right.
And then I saw it coming back, and me and my best friend were like freaking out. We couldn't believe what we were seeing. And the weird thing is we were able to track it. So we took the binocs off,
Oh, how cool.
and we had this conversation. We were both freaking out. And when we put them back up, we were able to still find it and track it. It was one of those weird moments that a lot of people experience. It almost seemed like time stopped in that. And they do alter time. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
that's a fact. That's a
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah, because totally. I hadn't thought about that, but I'm well aware of it, but hadn't thought about that because they're, those lot of people that lose time. And maybe I didn't relate this to my experiences, but maybe it could have been,
Yeah.
that I was in their time trajectory,
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely.
and so I just came back. Maybe it's multidimensional,
Bingo. Could be.
Yeah.
And that's why I like the Psychomanteum too, because I think you could use that, and you tell me if I'm off, to contact ET. Like, why not? Because now they're using psionics to contact ET. They have groups of hundreds of people that go out into the wilderness at night on a desolate area where you could see all the stars, and they telepathically connect with
yeah,
ET, and these orbs come out, and they're doing these power ups. I have tons of video from a guest of mine who talks to them every night.
I think they do that like in group settings or whatever at ESETI Ranch. I think that's in Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got ley lines, especially coming from California. You people that live over there know about ley lines because you live them. I mean, there's so many magical places, enchanted places in California that are like right on these ley lines too. So I don't know. It's all connected, right?
Yep. And we have My Mountain. I always call it My Mountain, Mount Shasta.
Mount Shasta. That's another
in Northern
one.
California.
Yeah. You've been there to Mount Shasta?
Yeah. It was. I lived. I was born and raised like 3 hours from Mount Shasta.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Have you experienced anything out there at Mount Shasta?
I lost time.
Yeah. Wow. I bet you did.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a very interesting experience. And in the communication from these entities that called themselves angels, they told me that I was supposed to go to Mount Shasta and meet somebody there and all this, and talked about Lemurians. Your audience is probably going, wow, Dr. Blinston's all over the place.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So, I mean, just tons of different topics. But yeah, I've had a couple of interesting experiences at Mount Shasta.
I loved in your book too how you said, and I think I'm quoting from it, that many cases that you witnessed highlighted something crucial about the Psychomanteum process, that its power lies not in proving or disproving afterlife communication, but in creating a space for meaningful engagement with grief and loss. And you go on to say that over the years, you have seen this process help people from all walks of life, including skeptics, believers, religious, secular, and so on. And I like that because that really leaves things open for folks to know that, as you're running this, that you've experienced so much healing
Yeah.
um, through it, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
what it's all about. It's doing the shadow work, trying to find healing, like you found it through there,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's a beautiful gift. I mean, if we could get that out of that, it would be brilliant. It's sad that it's not as widely used. And I wonder if the people that do scrying are finding that they get healing from. I don't know too much about what it's used for, scrying in general, like by witches and pagans and stuff, but I'm sure they use it to communicate with the afterlife, right?
Well, they're communicating with something. Well,
Something.
they're
Yeah.
because they're calling on usually the energies of whatever, and some people have a specific being, for lack of a better word, that they connect with through their mirror or their crystal ball or their crystal
Yeah.
or whatever it might be that they're using.
Do you
But
use crystals for anything? Like, are you a crystal person or?
yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yeah. And where I come from in Northern California, there's a lot of quartz crystal. I'm from
Oh,
gold
yeah.
country, where a lot of the gold rush area was, and there's lots of quartz crystal in those
Yeah.
areas.
Yeah.
But
So
yes,
what's your
definitely.
day-to-day like? Like, do you get up in the morning and meditate and prep
Oh,
yourself for the day? Like, what's your spiritual day like?
I'm really probably the worst heretic. I used to before the fire. I had an altar, and
Yeah.
I leaned more towards earth spiritual practices, um, and I really, in being agnostic, to me it was just kind of this beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Whether there was truly, but I had connection, like I had a really strong connection to Odin.
Yeah.
Don't ask me why, but ever since I was a teenager, I was madly in love with Odin. So yeah, so I have different, and Ganesh, scribes,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
writers. And I'm Gemini, so Mercury, and so I have all of those things, and I use the power of the universal energies and the cosmic forces.
Sure.
I work with that and have them help me out, and so for manifesting and that kind of thing. But it's yeah, it's been a while for me to get myself back
Yeah.
after the fire. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
used to.
traumatic. Yeah, that's a traumatic. It's funny how the gods are making a comeback. Like I'm seeing so many videos like on Prometheus and all these gods, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And you get to learn a lot about history too
Yeah.
during that process as well. So what what are you working on other than trying to promote your project here? Like, are you writing another book? Like
Yeah.
what? Yeah, what's that like for
The
you?
book I'm writing right now is the book on my doctoral research about religious apparitions experienced in childhood.
Mm,
Um, I'm just I'm sharing my findings. Uh, and I mean, I love talking about my research and just all this kind of topic in general,
sure.
as you can tell, and everybody who's listening can tell. Um, but this book, I need to get the darn thing finished because I just want to get the information out there, because so many people have, and it doesn't necessarily have to be, I have really strict criteria about religious figures from the
Mm,
Bible, biblical figures, Judeo Christian, but people's lives are changed from childhood.
sure.
And I think for them, because they're not indoctrinated
Mm,
through school and etc., kind of like me when I was a little girl, um, they're more accepting. But like me, they learn the hard way. You don't
mm,
talk about it,
right.
and because nobody's talking about it, just like experiences in the Psychomanteum, all of these things we don't talk about are human potential. So
Yeah, that's
none of it gets studied. And I don't know, call me a conspiracy theorist, but it's almost like it's a power play to keep us ignorant of our own power.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. So is like the Lady of Fatima going to be in your book with the three?
I wrote a chapter for a book about the Lady of Fatima. I don't even know if you can get the book anymore, but it was called Fatima Revisited, and it was ufology, psychology, and I can't remember the other thing. But I wrote about the connection between the alien encounters and my research and the experiences of the children in Fatima. I'm telling you, Carol Ann, it's so interesting because people who have had alien encounters, when they're describing certain aspects of their experience, it is almost verbatim exactly the same words that my participants said and the kids in Fatima said.
I'll bet. So you're obviously going out and interviewing children that have had
Actually, I interviewed adults
that as a child,
right? They recollected their, and I only had like 13 people.
That's a good.
But they were from, I had one person from New Zealand, one from the Philippines, one from Japan, and then in my book I'm going to expand because I kept other people's. They didn't fit my criteria exactly, so my school, of course, would not let me use them, but I still had their stories. And so I want to share their stories and also what happens when you tell, because there's demonization that happens. It's like you're working with the devil, it's a 5-year-old kid.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then there's the rock star.
Especially the Christians, they love to go there.
Yeah.
Everything is demonic. Now they're trying to make aliens demonic. And to me, that's just a scapegoat to try to skirt out of disclosure. They don't want to disclose. So they're trying to petrify us and say that, these entities, maybe some of them are angelic, some of them are demonic. Maybe it's a mixture of all of it. But for the government to say, and you've got the VP came out and said it, Vance, that, oh, these things are demonic. That is such BS to me.
And it's regressive.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you think about it, that's exactly the view of Christians in the early days.
Exactly.
Like in medieval times.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I know we've had so many resets. It just makes sense that they've reset this globe so many times to try to make us forget our power and forget who we are. So I like the idea of that book. It really resonates with me. I hope you get that written soon so you can come back and we can have something exciting and juicy to talk about.
We can discuss.
Right. Now, I'm going to go on your website, and I always like to do this, and I do it probably for every guest because, a lot of work goes into authors' websites, and I always like to share it with people. That's a great picture of you, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Love the hair. So you've got services here. Let's see what exactly do you offer folks, Irene?
I'm a professional astrologer, and I also am a human design, primarily for business analyst. I talk to people also about their profound spiritual experiences, obviously, because I work with people who have seen Jesus or have had profound experiences, and different aspects of astrology. And I'm big on, I believe in our ability to manifest, again, our vast human potential, so that we are creators and manifestors, and using the energy of the planets to be a tailwind, so for timing and things like that. And location, believe it or not, longitude and latitude location can help make a difference in being able to manipulate the energy of the planets to be
Mm.
in your favor. And it's pretty
Nice.
profound. Yeah.
So you do readings for people and try and guide them on how to do, like to manifest and change their lives for the better, essentially.
Right. Or even, if they want to, there's a thing that happens every year called the solar return. And I do something called the manifesting traveler, because that chart is the only thing in Western astrology, well, in astrology in general, probably, where we have an inkling of control. So if you change the location of your solar return chart to get the planets in the areas of the wheel that are more beneficial for what you're asking for, then it really helps to manifest, and it can be pretty profound. And just the focus too, by doing that, I think it's just like candle work. If anybody's done candle work,
Yeah.
you're focusing. And I mean, Catholics do candle work,
Yes, big time.
So,
Big time.
it's the focus, the prayer, if you will.
Sure.
It's the focus along with the planetary energies to what you want to manifest. It definitely makes a difference.
So like this service here, you work with a client for over a year, right?
Well, 6 months. And then I used to do it for a year, but my hope is that they will be able to have manifested what they wanted by 6 months. But yeah, and there can be other, like a quarterly check-in or whatever, throughout the 12-month period.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, some things are manifested. I had one, just as an example. A person I knew came to me. She'd been trying to get pregnant for 2 years, and she was just getting ready to start IVF. And so she said, I thought I'd come to you first because the cost is astronomical, and not just the cost money-wise, but the cost on her body, her emotions, and everything else. So I found a spot for her to go to for her birthday. It happens either the day before, the day of, or the day after, because it's the birth moment, not your birthday. And so I found the place, and a month later, she contacted me and she said, I wanted to tell you something. And I'm like, what? She goes, I'm pregnant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep.
That's
and
great.
I said, you better go to the location, because she hadn't reached her time yet. And she's like, yeah, I'm going. I go, you better go. But now she has 2 kids.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a blessing.
Yeah.
And people can call you too, like if they have questions about any of you say you've got like a discovery call here, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if people want to learn more, have questions, learn more about it and see if it's something that's a fit for them. Absolutely.
And I like this positive astrology. Very nice. Very nice. I'm going to have to spend some time on here and do some reading. Do you have a blog as well where people
I do not. I had a blog for a very short period of time, even as a Gemini, and I should be one that's like a blog maniac, but I am not. So I do not have a blog. I used to, but I had to switch services, and all of my blog posts were lost.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You gotta love technology when stuff like that happens. And they can get your book here on Amazon, and I'm sure wherever fine books are sold.
Right. Yes. That book particularly, the Gazing into the Afterlife, can buy it anywhere in the world. This book, Cracking the Angel's Code, is typically only on Amazon.
Oh, that sounds so interesting. What if the angels had been speaking and all you need was the key to understand them? Oh, I like that.
This is about my, the angels, they called themselves angels, who contacted me and were telling me about what was going to happen in the world. Yeah. What is to come. I'm sorry, say that one more time.
When did that happen to you?
That the original communication happened in 1988 or 89, and it went over a period of time. And they came to me, but I wrote it. So it was like spirit writing.
No.
And I kept, all of that was burned in the fire though, but I kept all the writings. Yeah. And then they told me to write a book. And so I did, and
Yeah.
it didn't get picked up. And finally, the way I had to wait for technology and things to make it
Yeah.
available, so it was
Yeah.
easier. So I got it
Yeah.
published, called Cracking the Angel's Code,
Oh,
because
I'm gonna have to read that.
it was,
I
that
have to
one's
read.
a, yeah, that's an interesting book. I wrote it with a good sense of humor too. So
That always helps. That always helps. Well, Irene, we would love to have you come back. I mean, there's so much we could talk about. You're so learned in so many areas. And again, I'll make sure I put all the links to where people can find you in case they have any questions. I'm sure you would love to hear from them, right?
sure. Hmm. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for today. This was a blast, and I learned so much from you. Absolutely in awe of the whole Psychomanteum thing. And I hope we can take a journey with you as you're developing this and exploring it and creating, a new book. I really do. I would love to have you come back and we can talk more about all of it.
I would love to. Like I said, I love talking about my research and I love talking about these topics. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Good. I'll be sure and get you scheduled because dates go fast. So I want to definitely get you booked for after the summer.
Excellent. Yeah.
Awesome, Irene. Thank you so much. It was truly a blessing.
You,
Thank you, my
sweetie.
friend.
Thank you. I
Thank
loved
you.
it. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Alrighty.
Bye bye, hon.
Bye.
Well, that was a blast. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And thank Irene. She is amazing. And I can't wait to have her back. And of course, thanks to all of you in the chat. It wouldn't be the same without you there. And definitely check out Irene's book. It's so worthy to read. You'll get a lot more clarification about the topic. You can see examples and hear more perspective. I love reading authors' books. To me, it's a blessing. Whether I get it in paperback or PDF, I absolutely love it. It's one of those books you'll want to pick up again and highlight stuff, and I love doing that. So definitely check out Irene's work, and don't forget to join us tomorrow. We have a very special podcast that I'm very excited to talk with. The person's name is Barbara With. Her last name is With. So when I say talk to Barbara With, people think I'm crazy, but no, that's her last name. But the topic that we're going to be talking about are intuition and psychic experience connected to the unified field theory. She's an expert in that and so much more. So please be sure and join us tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you, Heidi. You guys rock. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Love you all dearly. I will see you tomorrow. God bless.